All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Positive Dreams Project. We are your hosts, Sarah and Sydney. Today, we have two very special guests on the show. We want to welcome Kati Hendricks and Tara Hayes from the organization Timmy Tumbully.
We launched the Positive Dream Project through our partnership with our organizations, Jumbled Dreams and Positive Change Project.
Before we start the presentation, I'd just like to advise everyone to set your video on speaker's view so you can see all of us speaking. We also want to let you know that this will be recorded and put on YouTube by the end of the week. We hope that you find this inspiring, touching, and truthful. We also want to let everyone know that these are real stories and we will not be giving actual advice. Instead, we hope to offer you with ways to help support the anti-bullying movement and inspire others to be kind. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy tonight's episode of the Positive Dreams Project.
Today we will be talking with Tara and Kati about their organization, Timmy Tumbully. Timmy Tumbully is an anti-bullying organization that was started to find a way to help others through the arts. We are so excited to have them both on the podcast today.
All right, to start us off, Tara and Kati, can you just tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Right. Yeah, I'll wait for Kati to get unmuted.
Can you hear me? Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Well, gosh, there's probably anybody who knows me probably knows that I love animals more than just about anything. I rescue everything. I mean, I'm the crazy lady that you'll see on the highway pulling over that sees a dog with her babies, trying to round everybody up and get them in my car to take them home and go, Tara, we have five new children to bring to the house. So I love animals, and I love what you all are doing, Sydney and Sarah. I love the fact that you're bringing such an incredible awareness of bullying, and you have such an incredible platform. And part of the animal situation that I was just sharing with you has a lot to do, a lot of the anti-bullying books and everything that Tara and I have written, the music and everything, has been very much about animals and their abuse and how they need to be rescued as well. And they don't have a voice. They have no one to go to. So we've tried to encompass everything in Timmy Tumbully, the adventures of Timmy Tumbully, like anything you can imagine, anyone getting bullied, from animals to people to whatever. That's what we strive to do. So I commend both of you for this great project that you have going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess just to give you maybe a little backstory, Kati and I met in 2014 in Florida. She's also an incredible, the best vocal strengthening conditioning coach. And so we'd known each other for maybe 6 months, and you had already started the Tumbully, the children's book series. And so she asked if I would be interested in coming on board and writing with her and just kind of helping it, get it out into the world. And that was the beginning of 2015. And so since then, the Adventures of Timmy Tumbully children's book series has also morphed into a Broadway style musical. And we're a nonprofit. Everything's based out of Nashville. So we're just about to kind of start getting some content out and everything everybody will be able to see.
All right, so Kati and Tara, why is the anti-bullying movement important to you? And do you have a personal story with bullying?
Well, when I started this, right before I brought Tara on, a lot of the stories, in fact, most of the stories are about things that happened in my life as a young person as well as an adult, because I pretty much have been bullied from the time I was a little girl. I was a very, very chubby, very heavy. But I had a sweet, pretty little voice. And of course, my dad wanted me to sing for everybody that ever came to the house. And I was so mortified because I just knew they were going to laugh at me, because, I mean, one of my brothers was actually, making fun of me. And so I kind of grew up with that. And then when I got interested in reading, the internet and things that were going on, I couldn't believe how many kids were committing suicide over being bullied, online bullying. I couldn't believe the abuse that children had endured for years, and as adults are now coming out. So it was important for me to create stories that were non-threatening, that everybody could relate to and not be defensive, but it could be like, oh wow, yeah, I know how that feels, I went through that. So that was basically the beginning of getting started with the Timmy Tumbully book series. And then, as Tara mentioned, it's morphed into a musical. Now a lot of the music is written to go along with the stories in the book. So we're excited to get all of that out there so that you all can hear it.
Well, I personally think that's just incredible because it's such a different perspective on the anti-bullying movement, doing it through the arts and doing it through different ways than just trying to speak about it, because not everyone, is affected by just someone talking. And yes, we have this podcast all based on talking right now, but the point is that there are so many different ways other people cope, and you guys are doing it through the arts. And I think that's really, really incredible.
Well, thank you.
I completely agree with that. So you had mentioned Timmy Tumbully. Can you just tell us a little bit more about like the book series and like your the Broadway style show that you do, and like what really inspired you to do both of those things?
Tara, you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, so the children's book series, like we said, Katie started that. And it's just grown. We have about close to 30 books now. We're about to start rolling them out. And we moved to Nashville in 2016, like the beginning of 2016. And so once we got there, I think we really had the ability to grow the music and grow the album as well, and write. And the producer of our music, who is just incredible, is Jimmy Mattingly. So you may or may not know, he's been with Garth. He's been Garth's fiddle player for years, and he's toured with a lot of people. And
Dolly Parton, Reba.
Dolly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's done a phenomenal job with the music, and I think the project and everything just resonates with him in a way that he's been able to bring it to life. So we're excited for the world to be able to hear and see everything finally soon. So yeah.
That's so awesome.
And it's interesting because even Audra McLaughlin, who was one of the finalists on The Voice, she was on Blake Shelton. I know you all know her, especially Sydney. I know, Sarah, I don't think you've met her, but Sydney, I know you know her. When we were getting to know Audra, it was interesting how she had, a history of being bullied. And so we just find that no matter, it just seems like everyone in the world at some point in their life has experienced either them bullying themselves or having been a victim of being bullied. So, and one of the things that when I started writing these books was, I didn't want to go, oh, the bully, oh, just get him out of here. I wanted to rescue him as well, or them. We use animals, characters. We don't use people to make it, a little bit more I don't know, it's just easier using animals and we try to be careful even with using animals, not to, use a tiger or somebody who's really aggressive. I mean, we just try to keep it as generic that way as possible. But anyway, those are, speaking with Audra and her background and everything, we just find that, almost everybody that we come into contact with, everybody has a story at some point in their life. And my stories are continuing. I mean, I think in my adult life, I've been bullied as much, if not more, in my youth, because people get very competitive about things, and not everybody's happy for you when you start becoming successful. So, people can be cruel. And you just have to learn, or at least for me, I've had to learn not to let that define me. And it's very hard to do, and it's taken me years to get to a point where I can kind of resolve that and not be defined by, you know, somebody that I thought was a friend saying something really hurtful and mean and unkind, and to try to have a level of forgiveness for that. You know, I think that's important. So in rescuing the bully, we made Timmy Tumbully kind of the what is he, Tara?
He becomes, you know, he becomes a crusader. Is that
Crusader.
kind of
That's the
what
word
you're
I was
thinking?
looking
You
for.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, in the first book, he has a change of heart. Well, you learn in the prologue that he was bullied so badly, he becomes one himself as a means of defense, defending himself. And so, and just getting out his anger and his aggression that he feels for all the pain that he's endured. So he becomes a bully. And in the first book, Katie had it changed, you know, he has a change of heart. And then he becomes this crusader. And so all of the subsequent books are about him on this journey, and you know, whatever situation he's in that book, you know, that he can help.
And he always turns the bully around as well. So there's always a happy ending with our stories. Everybody comes together. There's like a circle of love, which is what we're trying to get out into the world, you know, to have everybody, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, it just doesn't matter. There is no color for love. It's every color. It's every color. And that's what we're trying to get out there and make people aware.
I think that's really, really special, guys. I personally, I know you guys very, very well. We have become very, very close when you guys are here in Nashville and not all over the country away from me. But
we miss you, Sydney.
We do. We miss you guys.
I miss you guys too. But Timmy Tumbly, the musical cast, has actually come to Jumbled Dreams' biggest event every year. It's called Christmas Dreams, and we give over 250 toiletry kits and winter kits out every year to the homeless on the streets. And they came and sang Christmas carols for us. And so it just means so much having you guys full circle on here. And I have a favorite book. It's when Timmy Tumbly comes to Nashville. He comes to Music City, and he kind of goes around Nashville, and he encounters a homeless person. And so the whole book is about that. And we've worked really close with Tara and Katie to kind of give them information. And so it means a lot, like having you guys come full circle in different ways. So my question to you guys is, what is something you want to share with someone who is experiencing bullying at this moment?
For me, and this is what I tell my vocal clients and everything else, and it's a Shakespearean quote: "To thyself be true." You know who you are in your heart. You know who you are, and try not to let anyone else define you. Be yourself. Be you. Be you. Not everybody's going to love us. Even in our families, not everybody loves us. So we have to kind of find that peace within our inner core, and just be okay with who we are, and to embrace and love the people that love us back. And sometimes you win those other people over, and sometimes you don't. But you know, regardless, you just, you know, if it's not meant to be, if a friendship's not meant to be, if you don't fit in that clique, you don't fit in that clique. My mom used to say, and I grew up in South Carolina, there's a lid for every pot. So you will find your tribe. I like to call it the tribe. And then you'll have that same vibe as your tribe. And the main thing is that we all just get along. We respect each other, and that we all get along, and we can love each other regardless of our differences. So that's what I would like to share.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And to piggyback off of that too, I think that unfortunately, you know, the adage goes, I'm sure everybody's heard it, hurt people. And I think that when someone is you never know what, as bad as someone could be treating you or treating other people, and they're bullying in terrible ways, you never know what that person has gone through, you know, maybe what kind of bullying they've endured. You don't know what's going on in their home life. So, you know, I think just to, like Katie said, to thyself be true, but also to try to, you know, keep in mind that that person has, you know, maybe a lot of bad things happening to them as well. And I'm sure that they need help in their own way, you know, so that might kind of take the, you know, kind of help you see that it's not about you. Whether it was you or someone else, that person's going to be bullying and they're going to be angry, but it might not even have anything to do with you, you know?
Yeah. That's really, really inspiring. Thank you for sharing. And it's actually really interesting that you said about changing your perspective on the bully and how they could have been hurt. Because that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about when they're being bullied or just about bullying in general. So I think that's super, super important. So my next question to you is, has Timmy Tumbly changed your perspective in any way?
It continues to change my perspective, Sarah, simply because every day, if you go online and you just quickly stream and, you know, see what's streaming in the news and everything, there's usually something about bullying. You know, there's usually something going on that is affecting, it's affecting the world. I mean, this pandemic, in my mind, is a bully. I mean, it's just paralyzed us in so many ways, but we're finding ways to come together and regroup and reach out. And I think that's the positive that's coming out of this, is that people are kind of, they're paused right now, and it's making everybody just reach out to each other. And I think we just have to continue, to do that.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, same, like Katie said, I mean, her and I talk all the time about, it's just, if anything, it's getting worse, you know, the epidemic of bullying, and it's getting worse. And I didn't have the amount of like cyberbullying and things that are going on now with social media when I was, even in high school, we had social media, but not to the extent that it is today. So I think just even learning about, I feel like I'm constantly learning about like what kids and youth are going through today in a different way than I experienced, you know, so yeah.
Well, and also, perfect example, I'm, you know, streaming today, looking at what's going on, and this article catches my eye, and I don't know if anybody else saw it, but there was someone who drove out into a wooded area, and there was somebody, I don't know if they were on a hike or a walk, I don't know what it was, but this person got out of their car, got their golden retriever out of the car, and the dog was wagging its tail like it was all happy, like they were going to go for a walk. And they run back to their car and slam the door and take off. And that dog is just looking around like, what just happened? Now, luckily, there was a person there who saw that happen, and they rescued the dog. But they were talking about how the dog is still traumatized, wondering, are they coming back for me? Are they coming to get me? And so that's why, you know, we felt it was very important to talk about animals. I mean, if that's not bullying, I don't know what is. When you take something that has grown to love you and you just shove it out and say, you know, hey, you're good luck finding food and another home. And I mean, that there's so many forms of bullying. But just to reiterate, you know, the fact that we are, you know, trying to be a voice for the animals as well. And with the foundation, the Tumbly Foundation, you know, we're trying to raise money so that we can have sanctuaries and places like that we can bring these animals that no one wants, and they can know what it's like to be loved, and to help these children, and to help adults, not just children. Bullying is on every level, every age. And so we're just trying to, one of the songs that we wrote is called A Hug of Love, and it's, you know, wrap the world in a hug of love, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, trust me, I know about raising money and raising funds. It is not an easy thing. A lot of people think it's so much easier than it is. And then I'm over here like, can you please, please, please? Like, I feel like the beggar, you know? But in starting an organization, what is something that you've learned? What is something like your takeaway from all of it?
Carrie, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when you have, and I'll say this and kind of backing up for a second, you know, when I met Katie and she invited me in on everything that she's doing, it gave me such a different purpose in my life outside of just what I was doing for my career. So I always knew I would want to be involved more in philanthropy and causes and things. And but that really, so I think when you have when you're passionate about an endeavor, whatever that may be for anybody, whether it's a nonprofit or a company or a business you want to start, whatever that is, I think that that purpose and that passion has to drive you, because you're going to come up, you know, challenges are going to come up. There's going to be things that present themselves as obstacles and mountains, you know, and molehills and all these things. But it's just the keeping moving forward and keeping your eye on the purpose that you have and the good that you want to do in the world. So I think that for me, just kind of, you know, is you know, if yeah, that was kind of.
Thank you for sharing. I completely agree with that. That's something that like Sydney and I often talk about, is like why we're doing this podcast. And it's because we're both passionate about the anti-bullying movement. So thank you for sharing. So for the next couple of minutes, we are going to ask you some simple and fun questions about you both. So the first one is, what is the most exciting thing that you have ever done?
Okay, well, I'll go first on that one. Actually, I've done a lot of exciting things, but they would just, you know, I'm going to tell you one that's been a dream. It happened in my dream, okay? And I'm still going to do it. It's a dream that will come true. I know this.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
I'm going to make sure. You know what I'm going to say. I want to swim with the dolphins. I love dolphins, and for me, that will be the most exciting thing ever. That's at the very top of my bucket list, going swimming with dolphins.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. The most exciting thing I've done. I'm going to be I'm going to be the least exciting person that you're going to ask this question to. But I love traveling so much. So I just think that anytime I can travel, just like going amazing places and doing things like that, getting to see like Hawaii or, you know, cool tropical places and mountains and all of that. That's just exciting to me. So that's what, you know, kind of.
Okay. I want to swim with the dolphins too. So Katie, if we ever want to go together, just
let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just plan on that.
I'll go with you.
We're gonna do it.
Tara, if you ever want to take me out of the country for the first time, just let me know.
I will.
I'll go.
I will. You got it. Do you have a passport? I don't know right now.
I don't have a passport, so it'll take a little bit of time.
Okay.
Well,
My
All
mom.
right. So by the time that coronavirus is gone from the planet.
Yeah. My favorite food is cheese fries, and my favorite animal is a sloth. So what is your favorite food and your favorite animal?
Well, I don't eat my favorite food anymore, but it will always be my favorite food, and that is Southern fried chicken.
Oh, yes.
And my favorite animal, gosh, I've got so many, but I would have to say would be the horse. And we actually have, I don't know if you know this or not, but we just had 2 horses donated from the Fort Lauderdale Police Department to the You Belong camp for therapy horses. So we're excited about that.
Yeah. My answer to this is always, how do you choose just like one food? Like, how do you just choose one? Like, I don't have a favorite. Like, a favorite? What? No, I don't know. If I had to choose something, I would just say, like, I don't know, some kind of, you know.
Blueberries?
Yes, sure. You can answer it for me. And then my favorite animal. How do you have a favorite animal? I'm such a dog lover. I automatically, like, say dogs, but then also, like, I don't know, dolphins and horses and everything, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to pick just one.
I know, I would completely agree with that. I'm like the most indecisive person, so every time somebody like asks me this question, I'm like, I don't know, ask me in a year.
You know what? Even when I go out
That's
to
a good
eat with somebody, I will usually get what they get, so I don't have food envy. It's like, oh, that looks so good. I don't want to be not liking my food while somebody's eating something that looks good. So I usually get whatever, when I'm at the table, I'll just get what everybody else is getting. So I don't sit there and go, why didn't I get that? So I'm with you on that, Sarah, indecisive.
That's a good
Okay,
one.
but with Katie, like if you're with your family, that's when you just eat off their plate. Like if you don't, that's what I do with my mom. Like I just eat off hers if I don't like mine.
Okay, well, that's what we'll do when we go swim with the dolphins. If you
Deal.
get a hamburger and I get a hot dog, we'll share.
Deal.
So the next question is, what is something that you would want to tell your younger self, or what is something that you wish that like your younger self would have done?
I wish my younger self had not been so afraid of everything. I wish that I could have hugged her and said, you know what, you're going to be fine. You've got the rest of your life to get all of these feelings worked out, and you're going to be fine. Because I did, as I mentioned earlier, I did go through, even with one of my brothers, bullying was just a very big part of me growing up. And it was devastating. I mean, it was heartbreaking, and you just never, I would have panic attacks over it. So I would be a lot more gentle and a lot more loving with my younger self.
Yes. Great advice. I would probably tell myself to not be so hard on myself, just kind of everything's going to work out. Everything, you're fine. You're learning. Don't, think of mistakes or failures as the end all be all. It's just life. Life's a journey, and just enjoy it because it goes by so fast. So fast. So, yeah.
It does. True.
I know, it's like I'm already in my junior year of high school. It's like, holy Batman, where did time go? I remember just moving to Nashville, and now it's been 4 years. So it's kind of crazy. You're definitely right. Time.
Yeah, holy Batman, are you driving now?
Getting ready to.
You have a Batmobile?
You can get your permit at 15. Well, Sydney is a little scared of big roads and driving, and so we've just kind of put it off until the last minute.
Traffic in Nashville's no joke,
That's what I'm saying.
It's not. But neither is South Florida. I mean, South Florida, my kids learned to drive in South Florida, and it was like, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. I remember those days. Yeah. I don't envy your mom.
I don't think she wants to, be in this stage right now anyway.
You know what? I'm sure you're a great driver. And this is what I used to tell my boys, you have to watch out for everybody else, because everybody else will be doing other things. So you just kind of stay focused and keep that social distance happening with the cars as well. Keep, 6 car lengths away from, all the other cars. And I think it'll go really well.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much, Tara and Katie, for coming on tonight's episode and answering some fun and serious questions.
It's our pleasure.
What you both are doing is so uplifting, and we wish you guys the best of luck. If anyone has any questions for Tara or Katie, we're going to have you go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we're going to get to the next part of our podcast.
All right, so now we're going to continue by sharing some facts and statistics about bullying. So these facts and statistics are pulled from various sources, and they're used to highlight just like the severity and the prevalence of bullying. So our first fact is 1 in 3 students will be bullied at school.
About 71% of students have witnessed some form of bullying in their school.
And 10% of bullied young people will attempt suicide. So
now this is the really, really hard part of our podcast. We're going to look at some stories that have been submitted anonymously through our social media. For the past several weeks, people from all across the world have shared their stories of unkindness. Every episode, we will share 2 to 3 powerful stories of how unkindness shaped the way these people are today. If you would like to share your story, we will drop the link in the chat for you. All stories are completely anonymous and your identity will never be known.
So here's our first story. As hard as it is for me to write this, I have barely had any friends throughout my life who are genuine. Friends talk about me behind my back, are jealous of my accomplishments, and use me to further their academic pursuits. So often I have been blinded by the fact that these people are using me solely because I wanted to sit with somebody at lunch. In fact, on my birthday this year, I got 2 story posts on Instagram. 2. That's it. I always post for other people's birthdays because I have been on the receiving end of feeling alone on a day that is meant for joy. I vowed to never forget someone's birthday. Even just a text or a balloon can seriously change someone's day. While on the outside I seem like I have it all together, I really don't. I rely on my faith above everything. Faith in my family, faith in my community, faith in my future.
So what can you tell others who are going through this similar situation? The situation above is a very tough one because everyone deserves true friends. I've struggled with that too. That will put mutual effort into the relationship. So I can't imagine how disheartening it is to be in this position. Despite that, this person still goes above and beyond for people. Their actions show their true character and goodness. In situations where someone feels used, abandoned, alone, or insignificant, it really is super important to remember your own worth. I can't tell you how many times the same type of situation has happened to me, and what I have found to be the most helpful is to focus my energy on something that I am passionate about. It brings joy to my heart and helps me to be kind to those who hurt me. I love myself for strength.
All right, here's our second story. In 6th grade, I was friends with some of the token popular girls. We were friends for a few months and hung out all of the time. Right before winter break, we hung out, but during winter break, they all blocked me on social media and through text. I was really confused because I hadn't done anything to them, and they hadn't explained why they had all suddenly blocked me. When we got back to school, they wouldn't let me sit with them or talk to them. They would glare at me angrily in the hallways and always whisper about me during class. One day, I heard rumors that one of them had hacked my Snapchat. I didn't have a phone at the time, so there was no way of me seeing if this was true because I used my mom's phone and it was at home. I found out that one of them did and posted a blank picture saying, "Hack this bee, guess who?" When I asked her about it, she said it was a joke. Later that day, multiple people came up to me saying things like, "Why did you do it?" and "I can't believe you did that." I was extremely confused, and when I got home, I opened my Snapchat to see that everyone, and yes, I mean everyone I had on Snapchat, had posted things saying, "Thanks, my name, for snitching on, quote, popular girl." I was even more confused now because I knew nothing about the situation. After asking around, I found out that the popular girl who was mentioned had told all of her friends that I had snitched on her to the principal for vaping in the bathroom. I didn't even know that she vaped, and I had never talked about her to any person of authority at my school before about anything. At this point, I had probably one friend, and they all still continued to bully me. They would toilet paper my house every weekend, 2 times a weekend for a month. It got so bad that my neighbors were complaining about it. They would spell out things like "F you," quote my name, and they even took up sandbags to my basketball hoop, which fell and crashed into my mom's car, denting the top of it. My family sent letters to their parents, and they never heard back. The bullying left me suicidal, and when the girls found out that I self-harmed, they spread rumors and joked about it, which made my mental health even worse. I moved away the next year and I still have no idea why the bullying started in the first place.
That's a hard one. You hear about this all the time in the news, or you hear about someone actually going through and committing suicide. You never hear this and have people who want to share their story with us. It's inspiring that people encourage, even if it isn't honestly, to share your story with us. Stories. So we can help others go through this situation. This is a hard story to read or to say. My heart out to anyone who is in situations like this. Cases like this, I hope that it's important to we're not alone. No matter how bad it is, always love and every day to love more. There are many hotlines available for women's along with that more. And can be a great comfort in difficult times. Social media can be a wonderful avenue to share live and communicate with everyone, but also can be a place to trauma. It's a slippery slope and very difficult for everyone, no matter the age. We hope you were able to find peace and able to other sharing.
Thank you, Sydney. So this is just a reminder that these are real stories and that we are not giving advice. Instead, we hope to offer ways to help support the anti-bullying movement and inspire others to be kind.
So again, if you have any questions for Tara and Katie, you can put them in the chat. You can privately message me or Sarah. You can also privately message Sarah, and we are looking for questions at the time. As well.
I was just privately messaged to chat. They're asking, has Timmy Tumbly, like, have you heard any stories about how Timmy Tumbly has affected the people who are reading it, and if it's like helped people get through hard times?
Since they really haven't been released yet, the stories, we're just getting ready to get everything launched in the next, hopefully in the next week or two. But when we've gone out and we've performed and we've been on radio shows, and everybody that has been involved with that has talked about how important it is to, to have music that is not just, a love song, but it's got meaning about life in it. And so many of the songs that we've written are about that, and they go along with the books. And so everybody says, and everybody is very happy about the fact that this is coming out, because bullying, and a lot of parents have talked about how bullying, even their young kids in kindergarten, and I mean, it's on almost every level, that they're happy that there's something coming out, and there are things out there, but I think ours is maybe a little bit unique in the way we approached it, simply because of my background. And I didn't just decide to start writing bullying books because I thought it would be a good topic. I wrote about it because it was my heart, my soul, my pain. And through those stories, if I can help someone, and Tara feels the same way, I know, if we can help one person feel better and understand the dynamics of what goes on, then that makes it worth it all. It does.
That's really amazing. I think it's great how you were able to like turn your experience into something super positive in order to help others. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a question for you guys. How do you hope to inspire teenagers, just like me, just like Sarah, to start their own organization? I know Sarah and I both have one, and now we have one combined. But how do you want to inspire other people, especially teenagers who are going to be the next generation, speaking up?
Well, let me ask you a question first. You started Jumbled Dreams. So what was your inspiration for that?
My inspiration personally was back in my hometown in Kentucky, and just some of my friends not having what I had. And I grew up around people who I loved and who I cared for not have anything. And my mom just immersed me in how to help others and how to help my friends. And when I came to Nashville, I saw that there were people living on the streets and that they needed my help, and that I could be a voice and that I could help. And so that is why I started Jumbled Dreams. And so many people, but they don't know where to start. And so that's kind of what I want to help them do. I had a specific passion, but not everyone does. And that's super, super hard. Some people want to make a difference. They just don't know where to start. And so that's how I want to help.
But you said something earlier about being a beggar, like, oh, I hate to be a beggar. You were talking about raising money. But when you do that, you also raise awareness about the situation of bullying and your crusade against it, and homeless people, and everything that you do to try to make a difference in people's lives. So I think we all, as human beings, I think sometimes we don't even realize we're inspiring others. Sometimes it's just by what you say and what you do can turn somebody's life around. A smile, like if you're in the grocery store and you're going up and down the aisle, and of course now we're kind of behind each other because we're social distancing, but before, it's a smile can turn somebody's day around just like that. So I think what you're doing, and I think what Tara and I are doing, hopefully that will be inspirational and that will inspire others. Because I think there's a lot of things on TV now, a lot of commercials that are encouraging people to get out there and to do what you want to do, because it's such an open window right now with people having time on their hands, that you do have the time now to go after those dreams and to go after those goals and ways to change people's lives. So I would say you're not being a beggar, Sydney, when you ask people to help. You're bringing awareness, and it's their choice whether they can help or whether they can't help, whether they can or they can't. But the bottom line is, I guarantee you they walk away thinking, what a wonderful young lady that's trying to make a difference for all of these people. So I commend you for that. I commend Sarah for that. And I just think you need to keep doing what you're doing, and you are going to inspire teenagers. You are, absolutely.
Well, thank you. We've had a couple more questions kind of pop in the private chat for us. So how can people find your books?
Tara?
Yeah, so we, like we said, we're about to start rolling out some content. So we're going to self-release the books as ebooks through Amazon. They could follow all our social media. All of our handles it's just at Timmy Tumbully, Tumbully, Timmy Tumbully. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, and they'll be able to access our content there. Our music will be, available on all streaming services as well. So.
And do you guys have an idea when your musical will be released?
Well, we're actually starting to release it in bits and pieces. We were actually in New York the weekend that the pandemic really broke out, and we were meeting with producers at the time in New York. And so by the time we started heading back to Nashville, we decided, well, I better go to South Florida. Tara went to, her brother's, because it was just, things were just, well, you all know, everything got locked down. So we're going to start, we're going to release it on social media. And we've got, I'm excited about the book and the song that we're getting ready to release, because it's kind of a dance. It's called Get Down With It. And we have Sharif Aman, who is the narrator of the book, and he sings the song, and we've got these incredible characters that are also during story time, and also the dance at the end. And it's something families can do together, you can do by yourself. But I think it's going to be really exciting. And Tara, what can you say the name of that book? I get tongue twisted.
Yeah.
When Sarah was saying
it's a long
statistic,
one.
I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so lucky she can say that. I'm like, go ahead.
So this is the book Katie wrote, to spread, to kind of, it's about COVID and everything that's going on, and helping children kind of understand what it's about, and also process how they're feeling about it. And it's called Safe Inside, Sneaky Tricky Dragon, You Won't Catch Me. So in the book, the virus is kind of illustrated as this dragon, this two-headed dragon. And so kids have a visual for it. But yeah, the title's fun.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. So we actually have another question. Do you think that social media has made bullying worse?
I do. I think it's a tremendous platform for that kind. Yeah, absolutely, I do. And if you even looking at celebrities on Instagram and the way, I mean, it's just, and you can have all of these, nobody knows who you are, so you can kind of say what you want to say, but and do what you want to do, and a lot of people can kind of stand up to that and be okay with it, and then other people, can't. But I think, that is such a, I have such intense feelings about that, because it really, it's almost unfair at how they have such an incredible platform to say and do and harm, and what, just like the girl in the stories that you were reading about, the girl that got her Snapchat, and she didn't even have a phone, and she got that hacked. And then, I mean, and at school, I mean, it just goes to show you. And then, they laugh about it. And I mean, my heart was hurting so much for both of those stories. But the one thing that I will say about both of those individuals, that I was so proud of the fact that they had such an incredible awareness of what was happening, and trying to understand it and put it in perspective. Even the self-harming. I mean, I know what those things feel like. I know what that's like. And it's devastating. And, having somebody say, oh, it's going to get better, you're going to feel better. Well, when you've got somebody coming at you all the time, especially on social media, it's hard, because they keep pulling the Band-Aid off of that wound. So again, to thyself be true. And just, you know what? Sometimes I'm not a big social media person. I mean, I don't post stuff. I just don't, because I just have so many feelings about the fact that it can be so detrimental. However, I'm also going to say that it can be incredibly positive, because those who have been victims, I think, can come out very strong as winners. And I think by posting positive things, and acknowledging, okay, well, this person said something really bad, you can just write something back sometimes and just say, you know what, I'm sorry you feel that way, but this is who I am, and I love who I am, and I'm proud of who I am, as I'm sure you are of yourself. And sometimes when you can kind of, hit something head on, not in a mean way, in a kind way, set an example for these people that are bullying. You know, let them see how much nicer it is to be nice and not be hurtful and abusive. And most of the time, getting back to what Tara said, most of the time, it's not you, it is them. It's called projection. It's a psychological term for projection. People are usually projecting their own hurt and their own feelings onto you. And because you're so sweet and kind, sometimes that makes us an easy target.
Tara, I have one last request before we end the night. So at the You Belong camp, you rapped a song. Would you like to rap a little bit for us tonight before we go?
Oh,
Yeah, Tara, do the rap for In My Dreams. Go, girl.
And drink my water. Hold on.
Drink her rap water. Take a drink of that rap water.
I was not expecting that, Sydney.
You're welcome.
Hopefully I remember the lyrics. We all have dreams inside our hearts. You got to listen up now to get your start. No matter who you are or where you come from, just believe in yourself and you'll get the job done. Some people try to tell you what you can't do, but it's up to you to let your light shine through. So hold on tight, dream with all your might. Don't give up the fight, because you're going to shine bright.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job, Sydney. And Sarah. Yes.
That was awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming. We really, really appreciate having you both on our show. For everybody in the audience, if you want to share your story on our podcast, we can put the link in the chat. And please feel free to share. All of our stories are anonymous. Sydney's putting it in the chat.
I was working on it. Thank you all for joining us tonight for the Positive Dreams Project. We also want to thank Kati and Tara one more time for taking the time out with us tonight and for talking to us about Timmy Tumbully. We hope you found our stories that we shared inspiring, touching, and truthful. I hope everyone has a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having us.
Night.
And
Thank
Sarah.
you. It was nice to be here with you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.